All right, okay. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone from anywhere you might be joining us uh, from UK, Canada, from Amsterdam, Germany, Nigeria. I greet everybody joining us today. So I welcome you all to DevOps as a Service, daas.ng. So my name is Oladapo Babalala, and I am one of the co-founders of DevOps as a Service, also known as daas.ng, a free DevOps mentorship platform to mentor the next generation DevOps practitioners that would learn, innovate, and disrupt their various IT spaces with the DevOps culture, skills, and the basic understanding needed to thrive in the modern workplace. And so for those that are joining in for the very first time, for our guests, for our new mentees, I'm sure that, people would have been asking why we are doing this. Well, the answer is simple. We are doing this because it's what we do as Nigerians, empower one another with wealth in form of knowledge, right? We want to change that negative mindset, that negative information, that negative narration in the world, especially in Africa, that Nigerians don't help each other. Nigerians don't help Nigerians. But today, right, daas.ng was made in Nigeria to help other Nigerians. And this we are doing by creating a value chain through mentorship, of course, which is free, through free mentorship and collaboration to create a rapid change in the IT space. So it is true that larger percentage of organizations, about between 75 to 80%, churn out digital products in Nigeria. Organizations, that actually fall within this percentage, they churn out digital products every day, right? And most of these organizations don't make use of DevOps. But even if they make use of the DevOps practice, it is not end-to-end, right? It is not end-to-end. And that is why we are mentoring, engineers, IT engineers, which I call the DevOps evangelists, to use what they will learn here to realign the business models to follow after DevOps. So really, we are passionate about what we do, right? Actually passionate about what we do here at daas.ng. So we want to create that value chain that DevOps would change the way business or organizations think, right? We want to be able to, show people that true light that, see, you can use this practice and it's going to help your engineering team a lot. And not just the engineering team, it will help the organization at large, right? So once again, welcome. And yes, welcome. And if you need more information, you can just visit www.daas.ng for more information about what we do. All right, so last week, we started a very interesting class on Linux administration where our co-founder, Nuruddin Kamilu, took us through the basics of Linux, right? We had a very, very beautiful presentation from my mentees. And yesterday, right, the mentees were able to also present, right? And we all had a beautiful presentation from the teams. And that shows that, at least to a larger extent, right, that people are actually getting the idea of, of the basic understanding that are needed to strive within the DevOps space. So, and we grouped everybody in teams. Now, the reason why we adopted this approach is for everyone to work as a team, brainstorm, and share ideas, because really there's power in diversity, right? Diverse opinions matter a lot. So again, DevOps is all about bringing together, different people to automate and release a product. And that is why we are, grouping everybody within the team. So collaboration is key. And I'll say this proudly that in my DevOps career, right, 70% of those difficult tasks that I encounter every day are solved when I'm on a call with my colleagues at work. where everybody are just pouring in different ideas. Okay, let's do it this way. Why don't you do it this way? Let's take this approach and all of that. So it's good to work personally, but it's beneficial to also work as a team. So please kindly collaborate as a team and work together. And when we give assignments and place you in different groups, it's because we want you to work as a team. So let's know that all the lessons that will be taught within this boot camp, right, are things that you will come across in your DevOps journey. We won't teach you things that won't be useful or things that will be too abstract, right? We only show you best practices of things you will encounter on a day-to-day basis. So again, please go back and watch our videos, right, on our YouTube page. Just on YouTube, type daas.ng, daas.ng. Then don't just watch our videos, subscribe on our channel. You can also follow us on Instagram, on LinkedIn, right? It's just daas.ng. Just type DevOps as a Service Nigeria or search for daas.ng on LinkedIn. Subscribe on our channel, subscribe on our LinkedIn page so that you don't have to miss out any information. We churn out updates every week, right? So follow us and you wouldn't have to miss any of the information that we have. And so if you have any question whatsoever to our mentees, please feel free to send me a message on our Discord page. My handle is Dapson, DHARPSON, or you can reach across to my colleagues, Nuruddin and Oluwaseun. Fonton, PHOTON, is Nuruddin's handle, and Oluwaseun is Sean's handle. Or for our guests, peradventure you want to ask more questions, you can just send an email to hello@daas.ng, and someone would reach back to you. All right, so that being said, we are set for this afternoon's lecture, and that is Introduction to Powershell. Right now, Powershell is basically automation, and it's considered to be the holy grail. When you hear holy grail, you should know that this is something that is very important, and it's considered to be holy grail of technical DevOps practices, that talk about build automation, test automation, deployment automation, and then automation of infrastructure provisioning. All of these aspects of DevOps methodology, they promote one thing, and that thing is the elimination of manual labor on different stages of application development. So if your processes are not eliminating manual labor, then you've not started automating. But if you are still doing manual labor, like doing the same thing over and over again, and then you feel you are working, you are not working because you are not improving on what you've learned, right? You just keep doing the same thing. Maybe you're logging into the folder, you are copying and pasting every morning, you are doing that. Then you are just stressing yourself, because again, you could have the scripts that can help you with that automation, right? And that is what DevOps is all about. DevOps is all about automating end to end, which is very, very important. So PowerShell as a technology and as a scripting language has a close association with automation and has become the de facto standard. Like that's the standard that everybody runs to. Has become the de facto standard for implementing automation scenarios on the Windows platform, right? You cannot use Bash on Windows, right? So what do you now use on the Windows platform? Of course, you use PowerShell. So on Windows, PowerShell is your guy. Well, some will say Python, but then PowerShell is like the de facto automation scripts that has been built for Windows, right? For Linux, you can use your Bash, what have you. But for Windows, right, PowerShell is the person that you run to, or is a tool that you should embrace. Now, and the reason why PowerShell has become popular is because of the transition of PowerShell to the .NET Core framework, and it's gaining popularity in the Linux world. So what does that mean? It means that now, because PowerShell has now been migrated, from the previous framework Hello?
Yeah, Dabo, I'm with you. What happened? There was like kind of a break and then.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I think it was my network. Yeah,
right.
so I was saying, sorry, where did you lose me? Where did you lose me? So I can just take it back.
Yeah,
when you were saying about
PowerShell. PowerShell as a grain, and why it was built on a .NET, translated to .NET framework.
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you so much. Apologies for that. I think I don't know what happened to my network. So I said that the reason why PowerShell is gaining that popularity again is because
screen also. Sorry.
Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So once again, apologies for that. Okay, so I said that the reason why PowerShell is gaining that popularity is because it's because of this transition, from the normal .NET framework to .NET Core framework, and that means that applications that are written with .NET Core can run on both Windows and on Linux. So PowerShell has also been written, to also function well on the Linux environment, right? And that is why it's gained that popularity. So meaning the automation that you write on your Linux, you don't need to rewrite another automation for your Windows environment. That same automation can be used across on both Linux and Windows. And that is why it is now gaining popularity. But unfortunately, which is very sad, people shy away from it, right? Most DevOps practitioners I know do not like to use it. And even if they do, they just copy and paste from the internet. Please don't quote me wrong. Copy and paste is not bad, but it's critical that you understand its usage. It's critical that you understand what you're copying from the internet. You don't just copy things from maybe like Stack Overflow and then just paste and run on production. It will break your production because you're just running scripts that you don't even know because they feel, okay, well, let me use PowerShell, what have you. So it's good that you follow best practices, right? It's good that you follow best practices. And that is why we don't want you to just copy and paste hundreds of lines of messy code, and that does not have versioning, testing, and documentation, and then just run and paste on production. It might run, but I'm sure if you check the CPU process, right, maybe that module itself is consuming about 40% of the entire CPU, right? That is what people don't know. But we're saying that we want to be able to run automation that will consume less than 1%, in fact, less than 0.01% of whatever that you're doing. It's very possible. All right. So I just needed to use this time. I just needed to use like 15 minutes to understand, so that, because one thing about DAS is we don't just want to teach tools. We want to be able to teach you why we are, teaching tools. And that's why we are different. People, most of the platforms that you join, they will just delve into, okay, well, let's start using Terraform, let's start using this. You need to understand why you're using these tools. And that was why I just needed to stress a little bit, though I don't do this, but I just needed to stress a little bit, to talk about PowerShell. And so this afternoon, we have someone who is very versatile with the use of PowerShell, right? So Abdulmalik Ibrahim is a DevOps specialist at AppZone with a wealth of experience in automating, I think, virtually anything, right? So we work together. So I know what I'm saying, and Malik as well understands. So just explain what it needs to be done. Maybe we need to quickly roll out something to production, and we need a script that, can just quickly do something. Just explain what it needs to be done. And the next update we get is just a file with the .ps extension, meaning it's done, from Malik. So really, he's very, very versatile with the use of PowerShell. All right, I think that is all from me for now. So thank you so much, Malik, for joining in. And we are so fortunate to have, someone in your category, to take us through this class together. All right. So thank you so much, Malik. So Malik, I'll stop sharing my screen now, and you can please go ahead.
All right, thank you very much, Dapo. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So let me just share my screen. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So my name is Abdulmalik Ibrahim. I'm a DevOps practitioner at Abzone. I have a wealth of knowledge in PowerShell. I've been doing PowerShell for over 2 years plus now. So this interaction, this session we'll be having today will be very interactive. So I would have a few people to actually just try and assist me here. So you can just unmute and you can actually just talk and we can actually just flow just to make it very interesting. So I don't want to, so I'll basically just show you how to use PowerShell. So how you will not get bored with it, how you can integrate it, and how you can use it in your own environment. So thank you as you follow me through. So this will be our agenda for today. We will just basically three things. So just an introduction to PowerShell. We'll learn and investigate. We'll explore together what it entails. And we'll do a demo session. I'll show you through stepwise how to make a script and basically. All right. So to start, we are very well aware that many tech pros put up with repetitive tasks and manage things via point and click method when they could save up much time by automating things. This is where PowerShell comes in play. So can anybody give me a definition of what PowerShell is, or if they've ever used it before, if anybody in the audience can give that?
Sorry, Malik, I think you are breaking maybe your mic. It's like.
All right, sorry, Doc, but can you hear me better now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So the last question was, can anybody tell me what PowerShell is? Or does anybody have any experience with using PowerShell?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Liman. Yeah. According to the video sent to us to watch earlier, I have gathered that PowerShell is sort of an interactive session between the operating system and its application. Say like taking a sort of Office 365, for example, you can use PowerShell to talk to almost all the resources, including the SharePoint, the Office 365 mail itself. Then I have seen that there is kind of a PowerShell automate that actually makes you automate some tasks around the Office 365, which was from the video sent earlier to watch. So I think it's just a kind of like a way to make things being automated. Of course, Windows is a GUI, but it's very hard to automate GUI. So I feel PowerShell is just a way of getting automation done in Windows.
All right, thank you. That's actually a nice definition. That's good. So basically, PowerShell is just like any other shell. It just both the kernel of the OS. It just helps to interact better with your operating system. So PowerShell, in my own definition, is an open source shell scripting language built on the .NET technology, and it basically helps tech pros that build efficient to build efficient tools. Hello.
We are here. It seems somebody is unmuted, so people are talking in the background or something.
All right. I think we can. Person can mute himself. So basically, that's what just Powershell is all about. It's an open source scripting language built on the Microsoft.NET technology. So we'll just see that in the next slide. Yeah. So here we can see Powershell is an open source and shell scripting language built on top of the Microsoft.NET technology. It is an interactive, object-oriented command environment with scripting language features that utilizes small program called commandlets to simplify configuration, administration, and management of heterogeneous environments. So if I should break down this definition, so the first line, PowerShell is an open source shell scripting language built on top of the Microsoft.NET technology. So like Dr. earlier introduced, so PowerShell has seen 7 iterations since its introduction. So the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth iteration of PowerShell is built on top of the .NET framework. So it's exclusive to Windows. So from the 6th and 7th iteration, it was built on top of the .NET Core framework, which made it open source. So people can actually use or integrate PowerShell in Linux and macOS. So that's why it's now open source to everybody. It's interactive, base-oriented command environment with a scripting language features that utilize small program called commandlet, or some would pronounce it as CMDlet. So basically, everything in PowerShell is an object. But more of this I'll show you later on. Everything we interact with basically is an object. And functions or actions that you use to perform functions on PowerShells are called commandlets or CMDlets, where they are like basically when you're doing your bash, like your make directory commands and the rest. But these are much simpler, which we'll show you in a minute. So to simplify configurations, administrations, management of heterogeneous environments. So simplify configurations, currently you can use PowerShell for DSC, in desired state configuration. You can use it to make sure that your production environment mimics or have some certain requirements before an application is deployed, or maintains that standard so that somebody doesn't just go there and change something. Administration, you can use PowerShell to actually spin up servers. You can use it to administer tasks. If you're an app admin, for example, first of all, PowerShell does not even just cut across DevOps. It's not just for DevOps, it's for everybody. Everybody should know PowerShell. If you're in Windows, you should know PowerShell. It's like, it makes life easy because I don't see, for example, you're an app administrator, you come into the server, you see all the services are stopped. You just go into the service section and just starting everything manually. That's stressful. If you have 20 servers, how do you do that? That's stressful. You can't just be doing that. It's really stressful. Or if you are a system administrator and you want to spin up they ask you to spin up 20 servers and you already have the specification of those servers. You can run a PowerShell script that states all this. You can run a PowerShell script and state all those specifications within them, and that would work for you. Yeah. Please, if you're not hearing me clearly, you can just tell me so I can adjust or switch my internet service provider. So a management of heterogeneous environments. So like I also explained in the beginning, PowerShell is now open source. So it cuts across just Windows environment. So it cuts across Windows, Linux, and macOS. So depends on what your server architecture is, your PowerShell can actually work across several environments. So that's a brief introduction to what PowerShell is. Yeah. Hello, can you also hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Please, if you can't hear me at any point, just please notify me. So you can just unmute to tell me. So I would know. All right, thank you very much. So that's my brief introduction to what PowerShell is. So we'll be going through the next slide. So like I said, in my introduction, I told you that of what commandlets were. So these are specialized commands in PowerShell environment that implement specific functions. And these are native only to the PowerShell stack. So commandlet follows a specific pattern, a naming pattern, which is a verb noun naming pattern, such as the one that I put in the slide, get child item, which make it a self-documenting code. Why is it a self-documenting code? Because basically it's actually self-explanatory. So when you are using them, someone who is even reading the script can easily understand what that does. For example, we can see there's a command called remove item. Basically, I don't need to tell anybody what it does. Basically, it's in the name itself, remove item. So if it's not unless like it's not like Linux whereby you have it as array, which you probably, if nobody told you, you have to actually read the documentation for to know what exactly it does. So that's why it's a kind of a self-documenting code. So the commandlets actually are self-explanatory on what they do because they actually follow this convention. So also, I think I want to be doing a short demo. So also, you can also follow across with me through this section. So I'll show you how to launch PowerShell on your system shortly. Just a moment. So if you are using on Windows, you can follow with me. So you want to click your Windows R. So when you click your Windows R, can you see my screen? Can you see this? The run space.
Yes.
All right. So when you click the Windows R, you can just type PowerShell into it. So this runs our PowerShell. So this is how PowerShell looks like. So welcome to PowerShell. So before we even go down to commandlets, so I'll be introducing you to some things you can always check. So basically, I told you that PowerShell has 7 iterations. Iteration 1 to 5 are built on the .NET framework, so they basically are for Windows. 6 and 7, although you can upgrade to 6 and 7, but it's cross-platform. That means you have to basically download it to install it into your system. So you can check your PowerShell version by typing $ps with me, version, type $ps version table. So if you just type it, also if you type it halfway, you don't need to actually complete it. You just press your tab key twice to complete it for you. So PowerShell has an intelligence built into it that can easily detect what you want, or from either if it's a commandlet or if it's an automatic variable. So this is an automatic variable that holds the version of PowerShell that you are running currently. So if you enter it, you can see our version. So I'm running a version 5.1, basically the version that comes with the default Windows 10. Yep. So this is our PowerShell version. So we've still seen how to get our PowerShell version. So this, welcome again to PowerShell. So we're talking about commandlets. I told you they follow a verb. They follow a verb noun naming pattern, such as the get child item, which makes it a self-documenting code. So like I said, we can always see tell what a commandlet is doing. Just for example, we can see this one, copy item. Basically, it's in its name. Copy item is copying something. It's going to copy something from somewhere to somewhere. So when you see this in a script, you can easily understand what the command is doing. So it makes it simpler for people to understand your script, and basically makes it simpler for people to understand your script. And you don't really need to put all these things in your memory. Just as we go on, you will get conversant with it. You just know that you don't need to even put anything at all in memory, nothing at all. So I will show you how to use everything and how you'll be conversant with everything. You don't need to put any of all these things into memory. Yeah. So let's close that window. So for the verbs part of it, for the command, like I told you, the command let follows a verb now naming pattern, just like the copy item I showed you. So for the verbs part of it, PowerShell comes with a approved list of verbs you can use, or it allows. It's not like you can't make outside it, but it's not advised to. So it comes with an approved list of verbs. So you can always see the approved list of verbs that you can use to define a commandlet. So you can go again to the Windows. I'll show you another PowerShell we will be using throughout this course. PowerShell. So please, if you can type this PowerShell_ISC, this opens an integrated scripting environment. That's what the ISC stands for. So most of you have seen this on your PCs, but this is a PowerShell integrated scripting environment. It's basically like an IDE for writing PowerShells on your. Oh, wow. Oh, please, sorry about the tabs. I forgot to knife close this. All right. So sorry about the mess. I open a lot and I don't even clean up. So it's an integrated scripting environment. So it enables you to write PowerShell like the console we were using previously, whereby we just need to, every time we press enter, it takes in that command and accepts the new one. Unlike this one, whereby we can just actually type what we want here. We can easily type what we want, we press enter. We can keep writing the script, and when we are done, we can just run the script to see the output. So this makes it better than running this at every instant where I always send the output. So if you go back again, I told you that PowerShell has an approved verb name.
Hello. Sorry for cutting you short. Yeah. Please, how did you bring up the upper part of the screen where you have to type easily and enter easily? Mine is just showing the ID environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Since you're following, because mine always loads like this because I have multiple things open. So what I can do is let me open another one. Let me open another one. It doesn't come with everything I've saved inside. Yeah, all right, so I'm guessing this is how your screen looks like.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so if this is how your screen looks like, it's just showing you the console. So you basically need to actually create a file that you need to be scripting on. So you just click on this new script. So it pops this out for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So like I told you, PowerShell has an approved list of verbs. So you can always see the approved list of verbs by using the command get verb. So this is also why this is important to writing in the integrated scripting environment. So as I'm typing it, you can see it just brings it out exactly what I need. So you don't actually need to actually know how, if there's verbs with an S at the back of verb. So just type it to tell you. So you actually make mistakes using PowerShell. So when you type get verb, so just run it. You can run it. This one runs the entire script. So this basically runs everything I've written on title 3. So basically runs everything. Or you can use this, which means you just have to select what you want to run out of the script. All right. So these are the list of the approved verbs that commandlets that you'll be using would start with. So you have the add, you have the clear, you have the close, you have the copy, you have the enter, you have the exit, you have the find, format get, just like the one we are using right now, which is a get verb. So basically, this is how they are built, and this is where you can easily come to see what they do. So you can see we also have a column here that tells you common. So the common means that these are basically, you will see a lot of commandlets around PowerShells, and these are the common. So they are basically, these ones that are common are the ones that basically commandlets you find have, just like get. A lot of them will be get, like get easy resources, get a lot of things, basically. So from the word get itself means you are getting something. So find means you want to find something. Rename something. So it can be used across different scopes within PowerShell. So the ones that inform data transformation, you can see them, backup, checkpoint, convert, get used to this. So you can always run this and just see that as well. See lifecycle management, the same thing, install, approve, asset, anything that pushes, that manages the process, basically. So that is it. So we have diagnostics too, and communications and security. So these are commandlets and how they are structured. So two important commandlets we'll be using are the get help command and the get command, sorry, and the get members. So basically, most people will tell you that these are the three. You will never get lost in this. Truth, you will never get lost. But basically, I always use two out of these three. I never use the get help, and I'll tell you why later. I hardly ever use the get help. I'll tell you why later. But these are the basic two you need for this basic two, but we can still go through the get help. So let's go back to the slide. Let's be on course.
Hello, sorry, Malik. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. I can hear you.
So are you using your earpiece or something?
No, I'm not actually using it.
Okay. Then secondly,
let me turn off my voice. Oh.
Then secondly, can you also maximize your screen a bit so that maybe you can zoom in?
For the slide or for the PowerShell? No.
For the PowerShell.
All right, thank you. I'll do that for next time.
All right, so, okay, thanks.
Yeah, so thank you. So continue. So like I told you, the command like follows the verb noun naming pattern. So the verb, you have the verbs and you have the noun. So the noun is the ending side of the PowerShell, just like the item, copy item, get verbs. The other side of it, we call it nouns here. So the noun is the object in which the action is taking on. So basically, like I said, do not really put your mind into this. So I can show you. So I've shown you this. So now let me show you what the get command does before we move to it. So the get command shows you all the commandlets that are available in your current session that you are running, either your current session or in your PC or the loaded session. So you can run the get command to see that, so I can explain it. So these are all the commandlets you can use, which are the ones that are shown on my side here too, if you notice. But let me show you from the beginning. Let me show you from the beginning. So this might look like a lot to you, like a real lot to you. I can get it. Like the first time I opened this, I was like, how would I know all this? Like, how would I put them in my head? Like I will say to you again, don't bother. You don't need, you even need all these ones. Most of them come with the module they are installed with. You don't basically need it. So these are all the commandlets I have on my system currently available that have been loaded on the PowerShell session that I opened. If you want to see all of them that are in your system, you can come down here. This are sorry, I haven't moved this. If you put your dash, like commandlet has specific functions they can perform, or they can also take in parameters, and they can take in parameters. Just as when you do make directory, you have to tell it where to make the directory. When you're telling it to make the directory, the parameter you're giving it. So you pass parameters to Powershell, either using the same way you do it on Linux, like pasting it into the command, or you use the dash parameter, which means the name of what you need. So you can actually, and that's the beauty of PowerShell. Like I told you, it's helpful throughout the entire process going through. It shows you everything. So basically, I know I'm looking for a function here. I can't even remember what the function is.
Hello, Ibrahim.
Scroll down. Hello, can you hear me?
Please, can you speak up a little bit? Please,
All
sorry.
right, sorry. Yeah, no problem. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, please.
All right. So I know basically I'm looking for a parameter or a function. Sorry, a parameter that this function can perform.
Ibrahim.
Basically, I don't know what I just know.
Ibrahim.
I can just always scroll back. Hello, can you
We
hear
can't
me?
we can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you now, but in the last few seconds, we couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, I think the network is bad.
It was
I think that's yes.
Oh, it's cracking.
Yes.
How is it now? Is it better?
It's better now. It's better now.
All right, thank you for that. So, like I said, so I know the get command CMDlet, and it offers parameters that it can interact with. So I can pass these parameter variables to it. So basically, you don't really need to think too much of what you're looking for. So basically, you know what the command was itself. Get command, it lists out all the commands you have available on your PC. So if I want more information on a particular command, I must have to pass a parameter to get command, basically to either filter or show me more than what is available. So I can see basically either I'm passing in the name, I'm passing in the verb, I'm passing in the noun. I'm looking for a command that I only know the noun and I'm not sure of the verb. I'm passing in the noun. I'm passing in the module that the commandlet was loaded with. So basically, a lot of this will look a bit confusing to you, but I'll just make it easy for you. So basically, we can check for a command. We can check for a command using the name parameter. So I'm looking for example, copy item. The get command will show me if I have that available. The get command will show me if I have that available on my PC and I can perform it. So it tells you the command type, commandlet, it tells you the name. That means I can use the copy item. So if you don't see it here, that means you can't use it. Or you can't use that command. You have to load it to your PC. But the good thing about it is that PowerShell has automatically loaded the modules that are installed in the module part. So we'll talk more about modules in the next slide. It automatically loads the modules. And basically, if I don't even remember, I just remember that the item is copy. I can just put a wildcard into it. This will basically give me all the commands that have copy in them. So this will basically give me all the commands that have copy in them. So I know I wanted to copy something, but I don't know what I want to copy. So I can see on my PC what is available to me to copy. So from here, I can see that there's a copy net firewall rule, copy IPCX mode, copy net IP secure rule, copy item, which is what we want.
Hello, Malik. Sorry, apologies for just breaking in. I think we're actually struggling to hear you. I think maybe it's maybe it's the mic but it just fits in and out. Yeah. So maybe you can just change the device, so that.
All right, let me change the name.
Okay. All right.
Hello, is it better? Hello?
Yeah, no, it's still the same. It's still the same experience. Like, it's not loud enough. We're not able to hear you well.
I'm using a mobile phone right now. It's not still better like this. Not still better.
I can hear you well. I don't know.
Okay.
I think
All right.
I can hear him clearly.
I can hear him well too.
Okay, I can hear him. Okay, maybe it's from my end. Okay, Malik, you can go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Sorry about everything. Network is. So basically, if you know the command you want to, just basically you only remember the name of the command. You want to see if it's available in your PowerShell environment. So you can basically just run it like this. So you can basically see all the commands that I can do with the copy. So the same thing goes to refer to us. Maybe I just remember the first name of the command is remove. You can see all the commands that can run with your remove item. So remove, so basically these are everything I can do with remove. Yeah. So there are lots, a real lot. So remove computer, remove this, remove that, remove that. Wow, that's a lot. So now, after getting the command, now you need to know, all right, you come in, you just have the idea that you want to copy something or you want to remove something. You want to remove an item. Where is it? Yeah, there's it. So you want to remove an item, but you are not sure how it works. That's where the get help comes. That's where the get help comes in. So you can just type in get help, remove item. So when you tell it, you want to know how. So this is basically, this will give you the manual of how the commandlet works. So when you run this, you can see it tells you how it works. So it tells you of the syntax of how you can use it. It tells you the synopsis, basically what it does, delete the specific items. It tells you the syntax of how to use it. Then it gives you just the related links and remarks. So this is why I find this get help command really, really minimalistic. So this only gives you an idea if you already know how to use it, probably you've forgotten. So this doesn't help somebody who is starting. So if you're starting, I always refer you to the documentation. So always try and use the documentation online. So you can just copy the item, go to your browser, and just paste it. So the first link he always brings out is the documentation. You can see the docs from Microsoft. So if you click on it, this shows you the same thing that the help shows you and more. It shows you the syntax, it shows you this, it gives you description, and this is why I prefer it. It gives you examples. So minus giving you examples, it also shows you how to use them and what the examples entail. Delete files that have any found an extension dot. So you can actually follow along with the examples on how to use this commandlets in PowerShell. So this is the practical way to actually go about it. So I won't advise you to actually use the get help, because unless you are used to the environment before and you've probably forgotten how to use it, definitely you can go through that method. But if you are new to it, you find out that it will be a bit of a hassle for you to actually navigate around that environment. So the best way to go through it is the documentation, because it offers examples for you to actually, so you can see so many examples, even removing keys on your system, deleting files with special characters, and the rest. So basically, I always tell people to use the documentation. But this one scripting language that the documentation really is key for. So yeah, that's for that. So I'll get back to this get member. I'll show you what it does. I'll show you more on what this does. So I've shown you get help, I've shown you get command. So yeah, so going back to these slides. So modules, what are modules? Modules are a group of commands combined into a common function. For example, many core PowerShell commands are in modules called Microsoft PowerShell Management. By command like write host and write debug are in command Microsoft PowerShell Utility module. So what are modules basically? Modules, so basically you use a lot of commandlets in PowerShell. But this commandlet itself come in a bucket. We call it basically a bucket. The bucket is called the module. This module loads the commandlets for you to be able to use them. Yeah, basically that's just. So if you want to see the module, so basically you import modules into PowerShell. That is basically you can use other modules that people design for yourself. So when you import their modules, you'll be able to gain access to their commandlets that have been written into those modules. So that's just what modules are basically. If you also want to see the modules, you can see the modules when you run the command, when you run the get command. When you run the get command, you can see the modules. Also, to clear your screen, you can always use this clear console pane here. It's also very helpful when you run a lot of commands, like now. So let me run that again. All right. So this source here tells us the module that this came with. So the source here tells us the modules that is providing this, the modules that are providing this commandlet. These are the commandlets. This is the source that is providing this commandlet. So these are the modules that are providing this commandlet. Just like the rename item, if you go remove item, sorry. Remove item is provided by remove item. All right. Yeah, so this is the remove item. You can see it's provided by the Microsoft PowerShell management. So basically, everybody should have this on their PC, because this is part of the core. This is part of the core modules that are loaded by Microsoft. So it's being provided by this. So this is the module that it comes in. So yeah, that's basically all about modules and commandlets. So we're going into the next part, which is learn and investigate PowerShell. So I'll be explaining what variables are. Yeah. So variables are any character that has the symbol dollar in front of it. It becomes a variable. The variable comes in play when you need to store a value so that you can make use of it later within the script. So variable names also, unlike other programming languages, variable names here are not case sensitive. So it doesn't matter how you write it, it will always give the same, it will always give you the same, it will always give you the same, the content that is stored into the variable will always be what it was stored, no matter how you write the variables. So also variables don't have a specific style of writing, like some variables cannot be in some languages, some variables cannot be started with numbers, some cannot be started with different funny ways you could write a variable, but Powershell doesn't really care how you write variables. As far as, I think the only thing you can't start a variable with is a full stop. But you see where it comes into play as well. So, but it's a full stop there. But other, you can use special characters apart from a full stop here and the rest to write a variable. So I will show you an example of a variable, and also, so we can see an example of a variable shortly. So like I said, let's not use that. Let's call it variable x. So x is not a variable. So if I equate x to say 3 or 5, right? And I run this, and I want to get what x is at the end of the day, I can print x back to the console by just, I can print x back into the console by just outputting it like this. Let's clear the console so we can see what we're doing. I can just input print x back to the console by showing it like this. So if I run this, it tells me x is 5. Yeah. Now, what will it tell me if I put x as a capital letter? So if I run it to see what is inside this variable, just by running this, it will still tell me that x is 5. So it's not case sensitive, like I said before. I also said that variables can start with numbers. So we can see that as well. So if you have a variable called 23 and you said it was equal to 5, I end up pretty 23. If I have a variable called 23 and it's equal to 5, I end up pretty 23. As the end variable 23, it will still give me the same thing. Variable 23 is 5. So like other programming language, it allows you, as far as anything is before the dollar, it takes it as a variable. So you can use that to call it back. So it takes it as a variable. So that's from the side of variables. So for comments, to comment on PowerShell scripts, you will comment by preparing the line with the pound keyboard, the hash symbol, some will call it. Yeah, so this is how we write comments in PowerShell. We write comments with this. Yeah. So this line is a comment, so PowerShell will not interpret this line. So if we run it like this now, we can see that nothing outputs anymore. PowerShell doesn't interpret that line. So that's for single line comments. To write multi-line comments, we use the angled brackets. We use the angled brackets. The pound key. Then the line we want to stop at. We end it again with the pound key and the closing angle brackets. So this become a multi-line comment. So PowerShell won't interpret this. It doesn't put anything outside. So that's just how we use comments in PowerShell.
Sorry, Malik.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a very quick question about this get command name remove. I'm trying it from my end, like you run it. I'm not getting what you get. I don't know if there's a symbol you put in front of the remove because it's telling me the remove is not working.
Oh, sorry. I forgot.
Got you. It's better now. Exactly. I was trying to get that. That makes sense.
So I explained that if I do not know this, if you just run it like this, you're explicitly telling it that there is a commandlet called remove. So if you run it like this, it will tell you there's nothing. It will tell you cannot find the commandlet function script file any operable program that has this, because you've not given it the full name. So if I'm not sure of the name and I'm just sure it's removed, I can just put a wildcard. This is called a wildcard. I can put a wildcard at the end to tell it that I'm just finding anything that starts with remove. That's why the wildcard is at the end. So if I'm sure that there's a commandlet, I don't know if I'm not sure where the remove is, if the remove was the verb or if the remove was the noun. I cannot put another wildcard in the front. So you're just searching for remove anywhere, if it's starting with or ending with remove. So if you want it to end with remove, this will be end with remove. So if I want to just search generally everything that has remove anywhere across, and just run this. So even if the remove is here, if it was here, it would have picked it. Basically. But I'm not sure there's anything that ends with remove by the end. I'm not sure there's anything that ends with remove by the end. I can show you maybe with this app package. So if I use app package now, let me copy and remove that. So if I use app package now, so I remember there's something I want to remove and it's app package, and I'm not sure what it starts with. I can just write it like this, app package. I want to see all the commands that probably can do with managing applications. So I can see there's add package, I can see there's add provisional, add package, get app package. I just know that it ends with app package. I'm like, okay, yeah. There's remove app package. There was even remove provisioned app package. So I cannot take this to, I can either take it to my get help if I've used it before, or I can just take it to the documentation if I don't even know what it does. So like I always say, don't run a script you don't know what it's doing. That's suicidal. If you don't know what it's doing, you don't run it. You need to know what every line is doing. You need to be very sure of what it's doing. So we'll get to see more of that in our scripting exercises. But I hope that clarifies that for you, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so that's for variables. So comments, yeah, we've done comments. So data types. So a lot of data types in PowerShell. So PowerShell, first of all, PowerShell is not a strongly typed, so it kind of interprets the data. That you're putting into it, so it kind of knows when you're either using an array, a string, it kind of knows all that. So you don't need to specifically create an object like you do in some other programming. So basically, these are the data types you have in PowerShell. We have integers. Integers are basically whole numbers in PowerShell, just like the 5 I was using in the previous example. So let me show you an integer. So we said $x. Let's go down a bit. We said $x was equal to 5. Right? So we can see the type of that variable by running the get type method. Now the get type method can be executed by every variable you create in PowerShell has a method to get into the detail. I'll also get into that variable for a variable by using a full stop at the end of the variable. When you put a full stop, it tells you what you can do for that variable. get something else, check if it could get type. It's basically you won't really need to up this kind of round, but it's good to know. So the get type will tell us the type of variable that this is. So it tells us that this is an integer variable, so we can see that it's integer. So that's what the method tells us. So that's for integers. For floating points, so like I told you, like Powershell doesn't really involve you. It's not strongly typed, so you can easily just go without defining what the variable is. So this is a floating point number, a non-decimal, a non-whole number, a decimal number, basically. So you can check it by running this, so we see what the type is. You see that the $x type would have changed. It's a double or a floating point. So that's how it works. So you can change it as well. So for strings, so strings in PowerShell comes in either double quotes or single quotes. So a good advice is always use double quotes. Single quotes. I'll tell you the basic difference between the two as we go on. But single quotes can easily cause issues on a production level script because you can easily overlook some things. So I'll show you the difference as we go. So we can put this as a string. So we get the type. So the name is a string. So that is for integers, floating points, and strings. For arrays, in PowerShell, arrays are defined using, I think I have a slide for that. So yeah, Boolean, datetime, null, arrays are not tables. I'll take that on a special slide. So for Booleans are unlike others whereby you just need to type true. In PowerShell, you have to put a dollar in front of the true, so it knows that this is a Boolean. So these are Booleans in PowerShell is $true or $false. Those are reserved variables for Boolean, so you cannot use them as a variable itself. So if I run this now, it tells me it's a Boolean. If I run this, it tells me it's a Boolean. So that's how it works. So also this is not case sensitive at all. So if the L here was big, it's the same thing to tell me. So it's not case sensitive. So that's one good thing about PowerShell. So although it's good to actually follow one of the variable naming conventions. So if you're using all small letters, try and maintain it. If you're using camel casing, maintain it. If you're using all caps, maintain what you're using. So at least if you are debugging your script, you can easily, it makes it easily readable, not even for debugging, just basically makes it easy. So that's that for the Boolean. For the datetime comes in form of a casting. So you can cast the variable. So in PowerShell, so if you want to enforce a variable to use a particular or be of a particular type, you can cast it by using a square bracket in front of the variable. So if I put integer there, that means it won't accept this anymore because this is not an integer. So I can also show you this. It won't accept this. Right? It did. I'm supposed to. Huh? Let me first become an integer. Yes. That's a moment. Sometimes funny. Yeah, this is what I'm supposed to see. Right, and then I converted false to an integer. So basically, you can use casting method to enforce the variable you are collecting. So you want to be sure that probably if you are using, you also want to impute something into the system, and you want to make sure that what they impute is an integer, not a string or not something funny. So you can always use this to enforce it. So basically, unless the person imputes a number that can be converted into an integer, it won't accept it. So like this, it would accept it because it can convert it into an integer. So this is called casting as well in PowerShell. So we can see more of this using string. Basically, string will always take a number or any other thing. So this will also go as well. Anything can be casted back into a string. So it's always take it, but it's always read it back as a string. And anything can be casted into a string. So for date time, this is where we actually see the date time actually. Date time. So for now, this I can't cast 23 as a date time. I can add it. I need to see what is right there. Oh. Just a moment. Oh. And that's a funny date. So the date time comes with some peculiarities. So there is a way to actually cast the date time variable. So if you're taking something like you want to be sure that this is a date that someone is part. Sorry, comment. Date time. Sorry about that. So it takes it as the months, the day, yeah. Sometimes you forget this. So if you run this back, you can be able to see what the date time is. Yeah, 26th of January 2026, 2006. So the first error was that the day was coming, so it was counting, it was looking at the 26th as a month. So which we don't have months up to 26. So that's how it works basically. That's how the date time works. So for the null variable, just like the true and the false itself is a reserved variable in PowerShell with the $null itself, $null. So once you run it, so null basically means empty. That's okay. Yeah. Cannot convert null to system. Comment, sorry. I'm sorry, this is variable too much. Yeah. Yep. So the null variable, the same thing. So the null means empty. So in PowerShell, you can't really call a method on a not valid expression. So this is what it always throws up for you. So this is how you know it's actually null. This is empty. So basically, that's how that works as well. So for arrays and hash tables, so I have a slide on that. Yeah. So arrays are most often used to contain a list of values such as the list of usernames or series. So PowerShell can be defined by wrapping a list of items in parentheses and prefacing it with the @ symbol. So how arrays work in PowerShell is this is how arrays work. So we have a, let's call this array. So we'll use an array to define an array. We define it with the @ and 2 parentheses. So anything we put here within this parentheses is part of the array. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 76. Yeah. So I want to create an array and list the elements in the array. So I can see the elements in the array, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 76. So these are how arrays are defined in PowerShell with this parentheses. So these are how we use array. So if you want to also pick a positional value of that array, the same way in any other programming language, you use the square brackets. So you put the index of the position you want. So for arrays, there are 0 index, so it always starts from 0. So the position, the array, the value that holds the 0 position, if you run this, would actually see that that value is 1. So this array has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 5 elements. So if you put 5, we'll see the last element. So if you put outside 5, to tell you out of bound or something like that, that's the error that it throws. I didn't want to put it. So that sometimes it will show you out of bound, depends on where you are scripting it on. So for me, I'm not. So also, as you get conversant with PowerShell, you will move from one environment to the other, just like I'm using this ISC. I've not used it in quite a long time now. So what I mainly use is either use Visual Studio. So it has an integration for PowerShell. So you can write PowerShell in Visual Studio as well. Or you can use it's actually an application you can download just strictly for writing PowerShell, which we call Sapien, PowerShell Studio. So maybe at the end of the course, I'll show you how that also looks like. So those ones also help in training up funny errors, but ISC kind of ignores some of these errors, so it just passes it. So that's for arrays. So hash tables. So as you also go through PowerShell, you find out that you'll be using more of arrays as well as hash tables. So it's also a key to note this two down. So for hash tables, the same thing. Unlike the arrays, the hash tables don't use parentheses, but rather they use the curly brackets. So I can show you how that works. So hash table itself, hash table works like a key value pair in itself. So whenever you want to store something that has like a key value pair, you use a hash table. So just like there's a first name, I want to store a user data, for example, whereby we have the first name, the last name, and the middle name, and the age. So in this case, whenever I want to use the first name, I want to always know it's John. So I use the hash table to call up that. So let me show you an example of an hash table. All right, let's go to user. So like I said, an hash table uses the curly brackets. So we can start, let me see. Let's say first name. All right, first name is equals to say John. So you also separate elements here using the comma. Let's say last name. No. Semicolon. Last name. Yeah. So I can have this now. This is an hash table that just takes in the first name and the last name. Let's not waste too much time. So if I want to know the first name, So if we run this, we should be able to see how the table looks like. So we can see the table, like I told you, it stores it in a key value pair. So this is the name and this is the value. So this is the key, this is the value. So for the key for last name, we have Mary. For the key for first name, we have John. So we can access the key value pair just the same way we did the arrow, but now we use the dots. All we need to type is last name. So as you're typing it, it should actually come out. So if you're making any error, it's correction. So when I run this now, it tells me the last name is Mary. So also, you'll find out that in PowerShell as well, we kind of combine the two. We kind of combine arrays and users. Those are what forms what we call tables. So tables are just hash tables. Like for the hash table itself, it kind of comprises of a single row with a column. So the array allows us to have multiple rows across the data structure we are using now. Like for this user now, I can't add multiple users because I can't add multiple users under this. Because as I'm printing it out, it will just be mixing up their first name with their last names. So if I want to add maybe someone else to this list now, I have to make it an array. So I can now make it an array in front of it. So you close that and make it an array. And I can add multiple users as well to this. So I can just copy this, the data here. So now I cannot, this now I have two users here. Peter and Peter Mary. So no, so when I run this, we can see the data structure. And I'll show you how to access the data structure. Sorry, I left something out. Yeah. All right, so I can show you how to access the data structure within so to access the data structure, you might want to use something like a for each. So we can do that. We'll get to that as well. Let me not rush you through that as well, but this is basically how you want to do it. So merge an array with an hash table. So let's go. So wildcards. So basically, I've also discussed what wildcards are when I was trying to get the remove. So wildcard just for match. So wildcards, you can use it to match partial values instead of the exact value. So those are wildcards. The wildcards, the star will match to any number, just like when we did the remove. So we could see a lot of things came out, such as the remove items and the rest. So it matches across the board, right? The question mark inside will just match to a single character. So you can just match one single character to a question mark. So pipelines or pipe. So this is where the true love for PowerShell comes in. So a pipeline. The pipeline allows us to send the inputs, to send the output of one command to the input of another command. Now, what do I mean by that? So what a pipe does, because sometimes when I get this confused. Now to show you what the get member does, so I can show you. So first of all, we already know what the get command does. Right? Now, if I add a name, let's say remove item. And I want to see, because like I told you, everything in PowerShell is an object. So an object comprises of properties and methods. The properties are what defines the object. It's like what tells us information about the object or what it can do. And the methods are the actions the object can perform. Now, I have a command that's here, and I want to see what are the properties and methods that this can actually do. That's where the get member comes in. So after getting this, basically, we know what this does. All right. So within one line, I can actually now tell it after you get the command and it exists, tell me the members within that command. So the members lists the properties and the methods that the command can do or it can give. So under this, we see that it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 methods and a lot of properties. So under the properties, we can see what the command can do. So it knows it has a name. You can feed the remove item a name. That's another item. Okay. So I show that there's an item called, sorry.
Malik, can I take you back a little, please?
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to this first name. If I want to do first name and last name together, like I want John Mary to come together in a line, not in array form.
That's how.
So you know when we define first name as John, last name as Mary, okay?
Yeah.
And I want to say, okay, John Mary.
Okay, and the data is just all you have in the table is just John and Mary.
Yeah.
All right, I can show you that. That's not outside the scope. Yeah. So in that example, this was what we had for the user. The user was just John Mary. So the user was just John Mary. So in PowerShell, you can actually concatenate. So if you access the first name with first name, and you can access the other one with last name, we can actually concatenate these two values together to give us another variable that we can call full name. So if we're using this, we can just, the safest method for concatenation that I know is through using the system variables. System, that's string. So the system.string here, thank God you asked this. So the system.string here works as a, like I said, PowerShell itself is built under built on top of the .NET technology. So basically it means you can use some of those .NET DLLs, you can use some of those .NET classes into your script. And you can call those classes into your script and actually access the methods within them. So now, under this class, if imported here, it has a function called the concatenate function. A method, sorry. That's a method called concatenate. So you can use it to concatenate. So you can concatenate the value of user first name with user last name. So when we run this, it gives us the full name. So when we run this, so we want to see the full name now. John Mary.
All right, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think if you want to put a space in between, there's going to be a space. Exactly. Okay, fine. Got that.
For this,
Yes. Yeah.
So if I run this again, let me show you. I was wondering why I didn't space it. So if I run this again, yeah, John Mary. Does that help you? Hello?
It does. I mean, that just answered my question. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, so yeah, sorry, I'm not done with the pipes. So basically, so I have this commandlet remove item, and I want to see what are the properties of remove item. What are the properties of remove item? What defines the commandlet remove item? What methods, what actions can it perform? That's when I now introduce the get member. So like I told you before, there are only two important, but although you might see some courses that tell you there are three, but these are the two. This one that lists all your commands, and this one that can individually tell you the properties and methods those commands can perform. So which is the get member. So when I run this against the remove item, so basically it passes all the properties and methods from remove item to the next command. I'll show you more about pipes as we go on. Is this affecting it? This one. This actually. Okay, so I think it's also this is simple one. Sorry about that. Some integrated environments have different ways around it. So let me just explain. Let's see this center of my property. So basically, the get member actually helps us to see the methods that the commandlet can perform. So we can see the methods it can perform. But some of these methods won't really work. These are the general methods. So some general methods are actually across board. So basically, it just helps us to see the type of methods that the commandlet can perform. So that's what we use the get member for. So I'll show you more about pipes, but this is not the best example for pipes. You see them in the coming lecture. So yeah. Read host and write host. So read host basically reads, well, it just basically takes an input from the user. Write host actually just returns an input back to the terminal. So let me show that. Yeah. I showed that. Host. So write host now. So if I want to write to the user, welcome world. So this basically writes that back to the display screen for us, welcome world. So basically that's what write host does. So it's used in terms of when you want to debug or when you want to return a text to someone or through the command lines for them to do something. So you can use the write host command. So you can also, it also comes with, if you want to change colors, you can change the foreground color. It has its own default colors you can change it to. You can mess around with this stuff. So you can change it to green. So we can write that and we can see what it does. Welcome world. So it's colored green. You can change it to red also. So you can use this also when you are showing errors or when you are trying to show a success message. So welcome world in red. So this could be an error. This could be when it's successful. Maybe you're copying files and you want to tell someone it's done. So you want them to know that it's done well or it's filled. You cannot just be showing filled in white. You know, some might not really tend to see it. So you may just turn it to red or you can turn it to green. You know, it depends on you. So that's what that does. So now, so for the read host, so let me show you how the read host works. So let's write something to the screen. What is your name? So I'm asking what is my name, and I want to read that. So let's put a variable. Let's call it variable. So when you are reading host, we read it into a variable. Let's call it variable v. So we say we're reading read host. So read host wants to take input from the user. So read host. Then output it. Now, this is why I always say write your commands with double quotes. So when you're outputting variables with write host or you're outputting or concatenating within double quotes, it allows you to do that just directly. So you can say welcome $. So if I run this script, if I run
I don't know if it's my network, but I can't hear anything. Hello?
I can't hear it too. Maybe he's having network issues.
Yeah.
Abdulmalik just left. I think he's trying to resolve his network issue and is going to connect back. Please just be patient for a minute.
All right, thank you.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Abdulmalik, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me? Sorry, I think I disconnected. Sorry about that. Let me share the screen again. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hello? Hello?
Hello. I can hear you.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Hello, can you hear me? All right, thank you. So like I said, the read host can also taking text that you want to display to the user. And it says, welcome, Malik. All in one line, we're talking host, they're reading the data and then displaying the data. So now I want to show you the difference between writing hosts like this, whereby I'm using the quote and when I'm using the single quote, I prefer the double quote.
The voice is dragging.
And if I was using the single,
Your cut is on.
you can see shortly. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Hello, Malik. I can hear you.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. I think I'm having network troubles. Yeah, so sorry about that. So I just wanted to show you this. So, like I was saying, if I'm using the right host with a single quote now, I won't be able to see my name. My name will be put to the screen. So, for example, Malik.
Sorry, Malik, can you share your screen?
Oh, sure. I thought I was.
Yeah, if you can share your screen, and we should be rounding up in the next 10 minutes.
All right. Sorry
Yeah, so that people also can ask questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Make it fast. So, like I was saying, the difference between the double quote and the single quote, yeah, the double quote. With the double quotes, with the single quotes now, I won't get my name output to the screen like how I did it with double quotes. If I run it like this, can you hear me? Make it
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello. Okay. All right. So I won't get my name outputted to the screen. For the single quote now, I have by doing this. That's the one use plus. Like this should work, actually. So I have to use it out the right host for it to actually work. So if I add another thing outside, I have to concatenate it. So which makes visibility or readability of your script. So which makes readability of your script quite difficult because this is outside. So that's why I always encourage us to use double quotes. That's why I always encourage to use double quotes. So that's the side for post and write host. So for comparison operators in other languages whereby we have equal to for equal to, exclamation mark not equal to, we don't use that. So what is here is dash equal EQ for equals, dash NE for not equal, BE for greater than, LT for lesser than or equal to is LE, greater than or equal to, dash like, not like. So it's easy to understand, it's easy to always remember, think too much about it. So let me just show it.
Sincere apologies for that. I think Malik's network is acting up, but I think at this moment we might have to call it a day because I think he's actually struggling with his network. So so the assignments have been given already. I have the assignment with me. So what will happen is also need to go through some of the material that have been dropped on the channel. I would also lay out with Malik so that if you can also share some of. Hello, Malik.
Yeah,
hello, Malik. Yeah, I think we might need to round up now because of the network.
I don't know. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. But I said I
don't know what's
I think we might need to round up
Doesn't
because
really
of the
work.
network.
I've actually
Yes.
switched it twice.
Okay. Can you hear me, Malik?
All right. Let me just discuss. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes,
Hello?
yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry about that, everyone. So do I just discuss about it or?
Yes, you cannot. Let's discuss about the assignments. So that we can just maybe you can also share some of the materials. Hello, can you hear me, Malik? I think your network is lagging. But if you can hear me, right? What you just do is share some of the materials with me. Some of the videos material that you recommend. Share it with me, as well as some of documentations as well.
I can hear you.
So.
Okay. All right. So for Dapo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but your network is lagging.
Hello. So normally I don't recommend videos. I normally recommend textbooks. So I can give you some of those textbooks. I think I have one or two that can actually help with. Thank you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so thank you, Nuruddin. So normally I don't recommend videos, but I normally recommend textbooks that you can use. So I'll share a textbook with Dapo as well. I think there's a Udemy course as well you can actually just take. So the Udemy course is actually very descriptive. It will take you basically from zero to writing. Basically, it's for writing PowerShell automations. So it's strictly on PowerShell automations, actually. So because there are different branches you can actually fall into in PowerShell, there's still the network monitoring side of it. So, but basically for PowerShell automations. So it's very detailed. So I'll also share that across as well. Noordin, can you still hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. All right. Apologies for the interruption in the course.
Yeah, okay, no, it's fine. It's also raining over here. Can you hear me?
Hello, Malik, can you hear me? Did you say you send the Udemy link? I lost you at some point.
Yeah. So I said I don't really recommend YouTube videos because, like I said before, YouTube it can go a bit. It might be a bit confusing for you if you don't have the flow you are following, basically.
Okay.
So there's an Udemy course I will send to that one, as well as some textbooks, some texts that are really helpful. So that I still even make reference to. So they also help as well.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you as well. I said the network has really been creepy all day. In fact, it also just kicked me off the meeting as well. It's been raining here at my location. Okay, so yeah. Yes, Malik, thank you so much, for the introductory course. So just like I've said, what will happen is you can just send us some of the materials that we need to use, maybe documentations, as well as YouTube video, that would also give clarity into all of the concepts, that you've taught today, so that everybody can now go back to the team to discuss more on it. And then based on the assignment that you've given, then we now have to come back again next week so that everybody can now present what they've learned. But it's just so unfortunate that, network itself did not really allow us to do much. But nonetheless, we appreciate your presence. Thank you so much for taking our time, to at least demonstrate some of the nitty-gritties that we need to, adopt when using PowerShell for basic automation. Once again, thank you so much, Malik. Yeah, so to everybody, the assignment will be shared on our Discord page, right? So please kindly discuss within your team, and then don't just wait for for maybe someone within the team to do all of the assignments. So it's highly recommended that first and foremost, you have like a personal encounter, with the assignment. Watch videos. There are so many videos online, that talks about PowerShell automation. So watch videos, read materials. They now come as a group. You can meet maybe like 2 or 3 times, before the actual presentation itself. So please kindly do this, right? So that by next week, Friday night or Sunday night, would announce when we are going to do the team's presentation. And the way we're going to do the team's presentation this time is we already know people that have been presenting for the past, 4 sprints or so. And so it's a different person entirely that's going to present this time around. So please be ready at all times, because we can call upon you to make the actual presentation. And then once you call for team's presentation, please, it is expected that everybody join on time. Right? It's not just the person that's going to be presenting, not just 10 to 15 people. We want everybody to join so that we can all learn at the same time. All right, so that being said, again, we would meet on Thursday nights, where we continue our class on Linux. Just like I've said, at the beginning of the Linux class, right? I said it's going to be continuous, right? Linux is something that is very, very important for everybody to learn, right? For everybody to actually have an idea of the kind of the different applications that will be run on the Linux environment. So it is very, very important that we know that. And then going forward, we'll be having, different, what I call hacks, on Linux. And these are what you need to know on the Linux environment itself, like what we use, or the basic things, the basic items they are going to be using as a DevOps practitioner, right? We'll be showing that on our midweek lessons, like on our midweek meetings, right? And that would happen on every Thursday night, starting from 10, right? And it can end like around 11 p.m., where we'll all ask questions, and then collaborate together. It's very, very important that please don't miss this class on Thursday. Right? So I'll be taking a class alongside my other co-founders, but the class itself is going to be taken by me. So please kindly join in so that we can have nice time together. Then for the next week topic, we'll be moving to networking, right? Networking is the next topic for the next sprint, right? So we have a resource already that will be taking that class on Saturday. So the time will also be communicated to you. Then after that, we have the security class, and then we go to Git, Git, and then we'll now move to programming and all. So please make yourself available for all of these opportunities. Don't miss out of any of them.
Hello, Dabs.
Yes.
Hello, Dabs. What about the Linux class? What about the Linux class that we're doing? I was not finished.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
So what about the Linux class that we're supposed to have next week?
Yes, I've talked about it. I said we're going to be meeting on Thursday nights, 10 p.m.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So we'll be meeting on Thursday by 10 p.m. so that we can continue on the Linux principles. Definitely going to be hands-on. So please collaborate as a team, share ideas, meet with each other, and then learn as a team, So ask questions, within different topics that we've talked about, We talked about Windows Server administration, talk about Linux, talk about Agile, and then project methodology. So please always meet as a team for all of this. All right. Does anybody have any question? Malik, do you have anything to say? I think your hands are up.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. So just as a closing remark, so the assignments are basically possible administering the Windows environment, basically. But I don't want you to see PowerShell as just that. I want you to also see PowerShell. Basically, if you're using any Windows product, be it Outlook, anything, you can integrate with PowerShell, Excel, Outlook, anything. And you are doing something that's manual. You can always give yourself that task for trying to automate it. It's also a beautiful way of learning PowerShell. So just try to go outside the norms, try to push yourself further, and just try to learn. So that's just all I wanted to say, just to close up. That PowerShell is not just for Windows automation, it cuts across all Microsoft products as well.
All right, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, all right, thank you, everybody. The assignments will be shared on our Discord page. If you have any question, Malik, are you on Discord?